Hello and welcome back to another Harry Potter talk. We're on the fifth one out of the seven ones I'm doing, and we're on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, obviously the fifth book in the Harry Potter series. Now, obviously, if there's some weird lighting, it's because of my computer, so we're gonna just actually dim that down a little bit. So I realized, because I rewatched the fourth one, that I did not add my ratings, and I think my ratings have changed since that one, of like the scale. So yeah, so I will give you I think they've changed because I didn't have the scale on there. I don't remember what my ratings were. It's been a minute. So I can't remember where 4 fell on that scale. So my scale may have changed a little bit, it may not have changed a little bit. I don't really know. But since rereading those first 4 and then now rereading Order of the Phoenix, it may have changed. So let me know in the comments down below if it changed or not, because without having my scale written down, I don't remember what I rated for. So, as you guys know, the typical way I do this is I read the plot, and then I give you my thoughts. And since I recently reread this book, I reread it in my video of my cousins and little brother pick what books I read, and one of them picked this. So I very recently reread this, so I actually was able to write down my thoughts as I was reading it, so I can articulate my thoughts a bit better to you guys. Then for the past 4 videos, it had been a couple months to who knows how long since I had last read it. So yeah, let's read the plot and then I'll give you my thoughts. So I'm reading the plot off of my computer here. So if I'm gonna be looking over here reading, so just bear with me. Alright, during the summer, Harry is frustrated by the lack of communication from his friends and by Dumbledore's refusal to let him help in the struggle against Lord Voldemort. One evening, Dementors attack him and his cousin Dudley, but Harry fends them off using the Patronus Charm. Later, members of the Order of the Phoenix arrive at the Dursleys' residence and take Harry to number 12 Grimmauld Place. Number 12 is Sirius Black's family home and headquarters of the Order, which is a secret organization founded by Dumbledore to fight Voldemort and his Death Eaters. Harry wanted to join the Order, but is too young. Under the leadership of Cornelius Fudge, the Ministry of Magic is waging a smear campaign against Harry and Dumbledore. That must be a British form of their making Harry and Dumbledore out to look like idiots. Or attention seekers. That's, yeah, okay. Claiming they are lying about the return of Voldemort. Harry faces legal charges for the Patronus Charm he performed but is, exonerated? I don't know if that's the right word. And returns to Hogwarts. Dolores Umbridge, a senior ministry employee, is the new Defense Against Dark Arts professor. She implements a textbook-only curriculum and forbids the students from practicing defensive spells. Harry, Ron, and Hermione form a secret student group called Dumbledore's Army, which meets in the Room of Requirement to practice defensive magic under Harry's instruction. I think I said this in my previous videos. These plot summaries, yes, do they hit key points, but in that transition, it does not explain why they formed Dumbledore's Army. I mean, I guess if you've read the book or watched the movie, you can put 2 and 2 together. But if you're just reading this, you'd be like, okay, so why did they form Dumbledore's Army? What's the context there? Anyways, one night Harry dreams that Arthur Weasley is attacked by Voldemort's snake. Also, another thing, not really in timeline order, these plot summaries, because this happened before Dumbledore's Army was formed in the book, the Arthur Weasley being attacked. But anyways, I'll talk more about that when I talk about my thoughts. So, I'll continue on the sentence. One night, Harry dreams that Arthur Weasley is attacked by Voldemort's snake, Nagini. I was supposed to say Nagini. Not right. The attack actually occurred, and Dumbledore realizes that Harry's mind is connected to Voldemort's. He orders Professor Snape to teach Harry occlumency to keep Voldemort out of his mind. When Umbridge discovers Dumbledore's army, Dumbledore saves Harry from expulsion by claiming he formed the group. To avoid arrest, he goes into hiding. Umbridge is appointed headmistress and begins enacting strict rules and regulations. Ugh. I'll talk about my hatred for Umbridge in a minute. During exams, Harry has a vision of Voldemort torturing Sirius at the Department of Ministries. He attempts to contact Sirius at Grimmauld Place, but Umbridge catches and interrogates him. Hermione intervenes and convinces Umbridge to go with her and Harry into the Forbidden Forest. When Umbridge provokes the centaurs who live there, they take her captive. Harry and his friends fly to the Ministry to rescue Sirius, but he is not there. Instead, they find shelves containing glass spheres, one of which bears Harry's name. Harry picks it up and is immediately surrounded by Death Eaters. Lucius Malfoy reveals that Harry was lured to the Ministry by a false vision from Voldemort, who wishes to hear the prophecy contained in the sphere. He asks Harry for the sphere, but Harry refuses to give it to him. The students fight the Death Eaters with help from several Order of the Phoenix members. Neville accidentally knocks the sphere down some steps, destroying it. Bellatrix Lestrange kills Sirius by knocking him through a mysterious stone archway. Voldemort appears and tries to kill Harry, but Dumbledore arrives and thwarts him. Some of the okay, by the way, this is on Wikipedia, which I do know there is a way that people can go in and edit Wikipedia. I do know that is a thing. So, luckily for me, I've read the books and I know the accurate stuff, but I feel like this does kind of feel like somebody else wrote this because of some of the language and words being used, and I'm just like, okay, sure. Anyways, Fudge and other Ministry of Magic employees arrive on the scene and witness Voldemort just before he flees. Back at Hogwarts, Dumbledore tells Harry the prophecy was made by Professor Trelawney, who predicted the birth of a child with the power to vanquish Voldemort. The prophecy caused Voldemort to murder Harry's parents, and is why he wishes to kill Harry as well. Harry feels overwhelmed by the prophecy and the loss of Sirius, but the wizarding community now believes him and respects him. Motivated by his friends, Harry returns to the Dursleys for the summer. Now, let me move over to my notes here. So I took notes while I was reading the book, so I have like the percentages of the way through. I was in the book when I wrote down these notes. And then I also wrote down some random thoughts that I had. Yeah, so I'm going to start with Harry being kept in the dark for the majority of the beginning of the book and how it annoyed Harry. And their reasoning being is Harry cannot know too much. You can only know what you need to know. And they're like, Harry can't know about any of this. He needs to stay at the Dursleys and be completely in the dark. And that he'll be safe then. He won't do anything reckless. Are you people stupid? Is what I was thinking when I read this. Again, rereading this reminds me of all the things. I'm like, did they not think before doing this? Did they not understand that if Harry didn't know the risks of, which he didn't know any of the risks of him doing anything. He was completely left in the dark before he goes to Grimmauld Place. Do you really think he would just sit around all summer and not do anything? It's Harry, for Pete's sake. Have you noticed he ran away his third year? He blew up his aunt his third year? I can't really remember what he did his fourth year. His fourth year, he was already with the Weasleys at the beginning of that book, so it doesn't really matter. His first year, he didn't know he was a wizard. His second year, Ron came and rescued him. Like, you cannot trust Harry to have a normal summer, okay? Something happens to Harry in the summer. So the note that I put down for, like, this is like 7% of the way through the book, and I was already getting heated. I even talked about this at 10% of the way through the book, too, but about different characters. I said that, like, the fact that, this is also, like, throughout the whole book, I felt this, the fact that all of the Order of the Phoenix members, or the adults in this situation, thought it was smart to keep Harry in the dark from everything, and not let him know what was going on, is super annoying to me. Harry is a pretty intelligent person. Now, he's not book smart like Hermione, but he is still smart and has a somewhat sensible head on his shoulders that he won't just go running into danger whenever he feels like it. Now, has he done that? Yes. But that doesn't mean he chooses to do that. And also, danger just tends to find Harry. I mean, think about all the times he's been put in danger. The only time he was really searching for the danger and actually trying to do that was probably his first year. Because this is the thing, if you think about it. His first year, I guess maybe first and second year, he was really, because he was also 11 and 12. He didn't know what he was doing. Because his first year, they're like, oh, we want to find out what this Fluffy's hiding. Like, they were all, like, all three of them were really into figuring this out when all the people said, just leave it alone, it's none of your business. But they pushed on with it. Like, second book as well, The Chamber of Secrets, everybody's blaming Harry, and like they kind of took that in. The first two books I kind of understand them thinking he would be reckless because he was that way in those books, but the third book, he didn't go searching for Sirius Black. He had nothing to do with what happened with that. That was Sirius's fault. Sirius was the one who dragged Ron into the Whomping Willow and Scabbers, aka Wormtail, and they followed after it because it was their friend. Harry didn't, he could have gone looking for Sirius, but guess what they did? They told him that Sirius Black, a guy, was trying to kill him. Now, did they tell him why he was trying to kill him? No, but they told him so that he wouldn't be dumb enough to go looking for the person. He knew that there was someone trying to kill him. So he's like, why would I do something stupid if this person's trying to kill me? What do you think I am, an idiot? That's what his thing was. And then even in the fourth book, he didn't put his name in the Goblet of Fire. That was done by fake Mad-Eye Moody, aka Barty Crouch Jr., okay? He didn't choose this. Danger just seems to find him. So the fact that, like, okay, let me continue with this thought. He's still able to hold his own, and if he knew what was going on, he probably wouldn't be reckless. If he knew the amount of danger and what was going on, he would have been like, okay, I probably shouldn't do anything stupid right now. I should relax. Okay, I know kind of what's going on. He doesn't need to know everything that's going on. Obviously, I do agree with them at that point. He can't know everything. But at least give him enough information to where he doesn't recklessly go flying into who knows what without knowing the actual risks of what's going on. Okay. If he would have known what was at stake, he would have been able to caution himself better. And I put this in the point because this is around the time Harry just felt very angry and annoyed at this point in the book. It was only 7% of the way through, but he was very annoyed that he wasn't getting any information from Dumbledore, wasn't getting any information from Hermione or Ron, wasn't getting any information from Sirius. And then when he does the whole Patronus thing, saving Dudley from the Dementors, they're all telling him, they all sent him a bunch of owls. The Ministry sent him an owl saying, hey, you're expelled. Dumbledore got at him for that, so hey, you're no longer expelled, but you have a hearing. There was all that. And then I was like, stay where you are. Harry, you cannot leave. And he's like, why? Why can I not leave? He has no idea why he can't leave the Dursleys' house. And he's like, you guys aren't telling me anything. How am I supposed to know what to do if you don't tell me anything? That, I would have been so annoyed about that. So I'm on Harry's side for the beginning part of this book. I'm like, you guys should have told him at least something. Like, hey, the reason why you always have to go back to the Dursleys is because your mom put, the whole love spell thing on you. Well, that applied to when your Aunt Petunia took you in, begrudgingly, but she took you in, being a blood relative of your mother. That protection is on that house. Voldemort can't get you when you're in that house. So, if he would have known that, probably would understand why they kept telling him to stay put, stay where he was, and don't do anything stupid. He had no idea what was going on. And then the next thing I wrote down, this again, as I was reading the book, so they're kind of in chronological order, was when Harry is taken to Grimmauld Place, which is Sirius Black's childhood home, which is a whole lot of stuff about Sirius with that house, and Creature as well. I don't want to get into Spew, but I may eventually get into Spew, which is Hermione's house elf thing, which annoys me like crazy sometimes. But this was a point where, so Harry finds out from Ron and Hermione where they are, what the Order of the Phoenix kind of is, and he goes in for dinner in the kitchen, and Sirius says, like, okay, what do you want to know, Harry? And Molly, Miss Weasley, is like, you can't just go telling him things. He's not a part of the Order. He doesn't need to know any of this. So I wrote some notes about, again, there's so much information hidden from Harry in this book. It's really annoying. But I think, I love the characters of Miss Weasley and Sirius. They're great characters. But what bothers me so much is that Molly loves Harry like a son, which is great for Harry, but she's not his mother. She is not his legal guardian. Now, is Harry as good as a son to her? Yes, which is so sweet, lovely. I mean, Harry, you found a great family to be a part of. It's great. And then Sirius technically has more authority over Harry than Molly does because he is Harry's godfather. He is his legal guardian. Technically speaking, in the eyes of his parents, like, hey, Sirius will be the person taking care of you. Obviously, he lives with the Dursleys, but they don't count in the situation. And I'm gonna go on a huge rant about them not telling Harry anything again. And there's that scene of where, like, Molly's like, he is a boy. He is still in school. He is a child. And Sirius is like, he has a right to know these things. Not everything. Again, you can't let him know too much because then he'll chicken out probably. I would expect that of Harry. I wouldn't actually expect that of Harry. He probably wouldn't chicken out. He just wouldn't do anything smart with that information. But, like, I agree with Sirius in some context of, like, Harry should know at least a little bit of what's going on with Dumbledore, what's going on with the Order, what the Order is, and where he plays a part in all of this, at least a little bit. Well, Molly's a mother. Both of her oldest sons, her husband, are in the Order. She's technically in the Order. Her and Percy is one of the Weasleys. Percy's on the outs of the family. He doesn't want anything to do with them because he believes the Ministry over Harry. So there's a whole Weasley family drama there. And now she just has Ron and Ginny with her at pretty much all times until they go off to school. So I understand her concern and fear for her family's lives and for her family. I get that. Okay, believe me, that's something that comes back in the next 2 books as well. The fear of losing their loved ones. Ron deals with that in the 7th book of when he's away from his family and doesn't know what's going on because they're on their, Horcrux spree. I'll talk more about that when we get to that book. But yeah, and then Max, like, the whole thing about Harry only needing to know what he needs to know is so annoying. Does that make sense? Harry only needing to know what they believe he is enough information is annoying. He needs to know more than 5 things. He needs to be in the loop or else he's going to do something stupid if he's not in the loop. I wrote that at 10% of the way through the book. I was like, you have to give him something. Because if he doesn't know anything, he's going to do something stupid and reckless. Guess what? He does something stupid and reckless because he doesn't know really what's going on. But I digress. And then I wrote 25%. Umbridge is horrible. Why does this character even exist? Probably for the reason why we needed someone to hate in this book. Okay, I have a lot of... Okay, so that's pretty much about Umbridge. I just don't like Umbridge. That's kind of the whole point. Her character is supposed to come across as horrible. I feel like that's about it. I mean, if you've read the books or seen the movies, you know what I mean. Umbridge is a toad. That's how she's described in the book. I'm not being rude. Okay, I'm being a little rude. But I don't like her character. She's just genuinely... I don't hate her more than Voldemort, alright? But she's a very close second. Oh, and then at like 44%, Dumbledore's army is formed. It's one of my favorite things about the book is Dumbledore's army and Harry teaching it. And I love how, like, Harry really... One of the scenes that I thought was really funny was when Ron and Hermione are like, yeah, Harry, you teach us Defense Against the Dark Arts. You formed Dumbledore's army with us. It was Hermione's idea. You teach us what to do. And Harry's like, I never know what I'm doing. Hermione, you know way more than I do. Why aren't you teaching us? Which I kind of understand his argument there. I'm like, why wasn't Hermione being the one doing this? She's the book smart one. But they put the reason why it is Harry is because he has experience. His first 4 years of Hogwarts, he's had to use some type of defensive magic against dark arts in some way, shape, or form. And now, to give Harry's argument a bit of credit, majority of that was purely luck. Or he had help in some way, shape, or form. And it is really funny, though, that when Harry tells Sirius, his uncle, not uncle, I call him his uncle, basically like family, his godfather, Sirius Black, about Dumbledore's army, they didn't have to name at the time. Wait, what? In Hermione? Oh. Hermione asks Sirius, like, hey, what do you think about us doing this Dumbledore's army thing? And Sirius is all for it, which makes Hermione question it. Where that kind of shows you where Sirius's mindset is Hermione, even though she came up with the idea for Dumbledore's army, when she heard that Sirius was for it, it made her question it. Because Sirius is been super reckless lately. earlier on in the book, he, even though he was told not to leave Grimmauld Place, disguised as Snuffles, his dog form, and came to escort Harry to the train. He was recognized by Malfoy, Lucius Malfoy, Lucius Malfoy. I don't know why I said Lucius Malfoy. I don't want to talk about all that. So he is even more confined to Grimmauld Place. And Hermione is like, and if he agrees that this is a good idea, it may not be as good of an idea as I thought it was, because she feels that Sirius may be trying to live vicariously through them, through Harry, Ron, and Hermione, specifically through Harry. And Molly has an argument earlier on of Harry isn't James. She tells us to Sirius, he is not your childhood best friend. He is the son of him, yes, but he is not James. They are not the same person. And she feels as if Sirius is treating him as that same person, which I somewhat agree with. Just somewhat I agree with there. Is that he did really try and live vicariously through Harry, and it didn't really work out all too well. I also wrote this, the amount of blind trust they put in Dumbledore is astounding. Especially when you find out in the 7th book how many secrets that man kept from him, and how people are like, and Harry's like, I barely even knew this guy. Like, I barely knew Dumbledore. I felt like I knew him. He kept so many secrets. There's so many secrets about Dumbledore that get outed in the 7th book. And I'm like, the amount, because any time that, like with Professor Snape, Ron and Harry don't like Professor Snape in general, but Hermione's like, if Dumbledore trusts him, we should trust him. If Dumbledore says this is fine, then it's fine. If Dumbledore, and I'm like, I mean, I get it. He hasn't done anything to betray your trust. But I guess knowing what I know, I'm like, you guys really do, like, thinking back on it, they really do blindly trust Dumbledore with a lot. I don't know if that was a very smart decision. Again, I really don't know how I feel about Dumbledore's character. I am very 50-50 with him, whether it's movie or book, very 50-50 with this character. So, I still don't know how I feel about it. Oh, and then I wrote, at 65%, I wrote, so, if you don't know, Harry goes on a date in this book with Cho Chang from the previous book. Actually, I think she was introduced in book 3. But it's not like in a Harry's crush type thing. But in book 4, she plays a bigger role. She dated Cedric Diggory before he died, and she likes Harry. There's a whole bunch of drama there because she feels like dating Harry is an insult to Cedric's memory because Harry saw Cedric die, and it's really muddled. I don't understand it, and I've read this book 7 times, and I still don't get why it's. Anyways, although we are getting told most of this from Harry's point of view, if we got it from Cho's point of view, I can kind of understand, like, okay, she lost her boyfriend, who I'm assuming she very much cared for. It's not clear how much she cared for him, but I'm assuming she did, and she's crying about it, and now she's feeling conflicted because she likes Harry, but she doesn't feel like she probably hasn't grieved fully for Cedric, so and then she tries to make Harry jealous because she thinks that Harry likes Hermione, which he doesn't, but it's a whole thing. And I was like, I hate the whole Harry and Cho date scene. Both of them went about it in the wrong way and made it super weird. But we also only get that scene from Harry's POV, so it was only awkward because he felt awkward. Which majority of the scenes with Cho that Harry has are awkward. Like, he feels very weird and awkward. So it's kind of hard to interpret those scenes well when he's awkward throughout them. And then we're getting into kind of my random thoughts. So these I kind of thought of as I was reading the book. Now, again, this is where my thoughts on Dumbledore get kind of muddled because I really don't have clear thoughts on this character. I was like, a random thought I had, I think Dumbledore should have trusted Harry more. If Harry had the information that Dumbledore withheld from him when a time came that Harry needed to be on his own, he would have been prepared, he would have been ready to face the trials and tasks that Dumbledore left behind when he died. So this is like book 6 and into book 7 thought. But I had it in here because this is kind of the start. This book's the start of when Harry's kind of left out of the loop a little bit. I was like, if Dumbledore trusted Harry, which he does in the 6th book, at least a little bit, but not, like, giving him full information that he really could have used in the 7th book. He really could have used a lot of the information Dumbledore knew in the 7th book. But I was like, if Harry had the information that Dumbledore withheld from him, to the point, like, when Dumbledore died and Harry had this information, I feel like the 7th book would have gone a lot smoother. I feel like it would have worked a bit better. But instead, Harry's left with more questions than answers, and he took probably longer to find the Sorry, I audio said this into my phone, and when I said Horcrux, it translated to horse truck. I didn't read. That's so funny. Anyways, when he went to go find the Horcruxes, that he would have known how to find them easier, how to destroy them. Because Dumbledore never explained to Harry how to destroy the Horcruxes. He helped Harry find one, or Harry helped him find one, but there was never really an explanation on how to destroy them. So he had to figure that out on his own. I understand that Dumbledore was looking out for Harry and trying not to put him in danger, but by not giving him the information or the details that he needed, put him in danger, put him at risk, which is very, that's why I don't understand Dumbledore's character. People are always like, you either love him or hate him. Like, I don't know how I feel about him, because I understand he was being protective of Harry and had to keep secrets for a reason, but I also don't like the fact that he basically raised Harry for the slaughter. Again, I think I said this at the beginning, not at the beginning, but at the beginning of the whole series. These are going to be full spoiler videos. So if you haven't read any of these, why are you watching them? Yeah, I'm even going, I have confusing feelings about Dumbledore movie/book, whichever Dumbledore. I don't really know if Dumbledore is really the good guy or not such a great person. He basically raised Harry up for him to die. He knew that that's where it was leading and that Harry would have to sacrifice himself. Now, I understand that piece of information that Dumbledore knew was good to be withheld from Harry. If Harry had known that, let's say at this point in this book, in the fifth book, hey Harry, you're gonna have to die. Which at the end of this book, Dumbledore tells Harry the prophecy that Professor Trelawney, who is not a fake, as much as I don't love her character, she's not a fake-ish. I think she's a fake-ish. Hey, here's the prophecy. The reason why Dumbledore chose you is because he didn't hear the whole thing. And the key line of the prophecy is that one cannot live if the other one lives, or something like that. Let me find the line here. Oh, here we go. Neither can live while the other survives. So I was pretty much close to that. So neither can live while the other survives. So Harry's like, so it's either Voldemort has to die or I have to die. Yes, but no, because you, Harry, Dumbledore didn't say any of this, which I think was a good thing. Leave Harry with that. You know the prophecy. You know what's going to happen. Either you die or Voldemort dies. Keeping out the small point that you have to die first so Voldemort can die. Because, the whole Horcrux thing. That's why I said, even said, now that piece of information that Harry has to die at some point was probably good to keep from Harry, because if Harry had known, oh, by the way, you're gonna have to kill yourself or have Voldemort kill you, yeah, that wouldn't have been good. Harry would have been like, what? I have to die? In the prophecy, the way it's worded in the prophecy is that Harry would either die or Voldemort would die. It wasn't known to him that he would have to die so Voldemort could die. That's something they find out later. And again, later on books. I also wrote Sirius is very reckless and is trying to relive his glory days at Hogwarts with the Marauders. I understand he wants to help with the Order, but he should understand the risks he's putting himself in. So Sirius dies in this book. I read that in the overview. Sirius dies. And he is one of the only two Marauders are left are Lupin and Wormtail at this point. Which is so sad. And I do feel like majority of this book, Sirius is trying to relive those glory days that he was at Hogwarts with his 4 friends before the betrayal, before the deaths, before he was a fugitive, before all of that. Just trying to remember life when it was good for him, when he was happy, when he had his best friends. Which is sad that he has to die in this book, and it hurts, I think, especially with... Sorry. My background randomly changes on my computer, and I didn't realize I had a Harry Potter background on here right now. Ah, that's great. Do I have any from the 5th book? I don't know if that was 5th or not. That's 3rd. That's 1st. 2nd. third. That looks like third. Maybe. No, I think there's going to be a sixth one on here. I don't think we have anything from the fifth. But anyways. So there is that kind of sadness of that Sirius never truly got to experience freedom after. I mean, think about it. He joined the Order of the Phoenix probably right out of Hogwarts. I think that's what all the Order of the Phoenix, all the Marauders and Lily and whoever else was with them at the time did. And they died probably like, 2 years after they joined? Lily and James. And then Sirius obviously was put in Azkaban. He was literally withheld in a cell, no freedom whatsoever, for 13 years. And then he finally gets out, but he's still a fugitive, so he has to go into hiding, still not free. And then he can no longer transform into his dog form because of Wormtail being in cohorts with Voldemort. So he has to stay in his childhood home that he hates because his parents were horrible, and he has to be stuck there with Kreacher, who also hates him. Kreacher's his house elf. And yeah, I feel so bad for Sirius in this book, but I also feel like he was being way too reckless because he was so cooped up. And Dumbledore blames himself a little bit for that. And I'm like, okay. Now, was it Harry's fault that he died? Maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a smidge. But not so much. I think that was also Sirius' fault for not staying behind. But yeah, Sirius in this book was sad. His existence was very sad in this book. I think there were a lot of differences when I was reading through the obviously through the once over we had of the book, the plot. This was in really weird order. But Fudge, he annoyed me so bad. The Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, was very much against Dumbledore and Harry for most of this book. I just couldn't help but laugh for most of this book. There were so many scenes where I'm just like, these guys are dummies. So many scenes. And then, sending Umbridge in there. Although we did get a really good Fred and George scenes, a lot of really good ones of those, because this is the book where they leave Hogwarts and start their joke shop, and they do some awesome pranks on Umbridge, and it's great. And then they tell Peeves to, make her reign as headmistress. Horrible, and I loved every second of that. I also love Dumbledore's army. I love that camaraderie that those characters have afterwards. Obviously, they get outed. Okay, sorry about that one. For some reason I ran out of storage. So, anyways, I think I'll just actually end the video here. I know I left it off at a thought, but I lost the thought as I was doing other things. So, I think I was talking about Dumbledore's army. I really enjoyed Dumbledore's army, and I love the camaraderie that those kids have together. And obviously, with the rest of the books, the kids from Dumbledore's army really do help out in the long run. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of the end of the video. I do need to do my tier list here, so I will remember to put it in editing this time, hopefully. So, at number 7 is Chamber of Secrets. At number 6 is Sorcerer's Stone. And then I think at number 4 was the fourth one. Oh, no, wait, third one. No, number 4 was the third one, which was Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm going to say, I can't remember where I put 4. So I'm going to I may switch this up now that I've read this one. I think 4 is probably in 3rd place, Goblet of Fire. And then this one, weirdly enough, 5th place, Order of the Phoenix is in 5th place. So I think you can kind of tell what my top 2 are probably going to be. But I think the reason why this book is lower than 3 and 4 is purely because of Umbridge and how much I hate reading anything that has to do with her in this book. Love McGonagall in this book. She deserves more credit for this book. In this book. But yeah, I really don't like Umbridge, and that kind of almost ruins this book for me and really takes it down a few notches. But yeah. so that's my rating. Obviously, I'll put it up there, and I guess you guys get to stay tuned for the next 2 books and see which one I rate number 1. Yeah, so thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!